The customer service experience with BSAAM has been spot on. Same-day responses from professionals who really understand the culture of a Boy Scout Council has been beneficial in making sure of a great relationship.
Our customer service experience has always been fantastic, and the board members that are a part of that committee love the support materials that they receive. They use it as part of their presentation materials when they're talking to people about making an investment in endowment for our Boy Scout Council. Additionally, on the back side of the office, our controller loves the customer service that they get from BSAAM. Any questions or concerns that she has are immediately handled, and the turnaround in all aspects of customer service has been fantastic.
You know, our experience transitioning to BSAAM has been really great and smooth, no problems, and all the transactions we've had since have been equally smooth.
It's been a terrific transition from our previous investment management firm to BSAAM, and very smooth. We've been involved for about 6 months now. The communication has been excellent. The information I needed, as well as my accounting specialist and our endowment committee, they've gotten everything they needed.
The investment process itself is very solid and it's very sound. It helps us manage our assets through a larger pool. It also frees our volunteers up to focus more on growth than worrying about asset allocations and worrying about the things that you would with a fund. So for us, it's easier, and it gives us that experience in a larger fund.
The investment process with BSAAM, it really impressed our trust management committee. That was one of the things that really took us to becoming a part of the program, and the processes that they go through in determining the investment mix and the performance is something that we felt really comfortable with.
The basis points for BSAAM were by far the lowest of all the investment firms that we looked at. And the performance for us, again, just in the first 6 months, one of our initial goals when we started our endowment about 20 years ago was to get to $2.5 million. We were able to do that and show a really nice return in that 6-month period. We went from a little over $2.4 million to over $2.5 million. The investment strategies are working well for us. We know it's very early in the process, but we're pleased. And now as a Scout executive, I can go back to my endowment committee and set higher goals and say, here's where we want to go from here. Let's look at new gifts, because we know that we've got a professional team who knows what they're doing in managing our investments. Now we just need to grow.
It's definitely lightened the load of the board and the investment committee. And at the same time, they're more in tune with the monthly email reports that come their way. So the investment committee is very pleased. The executive board is very pleased. The only thing we wish we did is start it earlier.
For me, it's a much more efficient use of our time and allows us to take that limited time that our volunteers have and focus it on the things that we need, which is acquiring additional endowment gifts.
The committee's time has lowered because before we had to make the decisions on a monthly basis where we wanted to place our funds and divide up by percentages and so on. So the research time took a lot of devoted volunteer time, and so moving to BSAAM, we've allowed the professionals to make those decisions for us, and we trust their decision making.
I always would recommend that we've got better things to do, and I think we are better at telling people the mission of scouting and how scouting affects kids, and we can have you be a help to us by making a long-term investment in scouting. So I'd much rather have my volunteers focus their time on telling our story than focusing their time on figuring out the best investment.
I think it's critical for every council and executive board to consider BSAAM. When you measure the performance versus cost, volunteer time, it just makes all the sense to give it an opportunity.
I would tell other council Scout executives, their endowment committee, and their executive boards, you do not want to pass by an opportunity to consider BSAAM. When you put out your RFP, and I know a lot of us every 5 to 7 years look at investment management firms, you would be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't bring in BSAAM and allow them to present.
When I think about BSAAM and the value that it brings to the organization, I think about the councils, and these people have a lot to do. They're generally short-staffed, they're short of resources, and managing assets is a very complex, it's a very sophisticated thing, it's a very expensive thing to do. And what BSAAM does is relieves that kind of responsibility and day-to-day requirements from these councils, let them focus on what they do, and that is serve more youth, serve the kids, serve the communities where they live and work.